Okay, so welcome everybody. Ray and I are thrilled. I know you all, but Ray does not. So this is Ray's meeting of all of you. Um, and this is our opportunity to just kind of let you know where we are right now, what's going on right now, talk about the extension trip and answer any questions that you have. Ray has a whole PowerPoint at the go and could certainly share with you the specifics of where we're going day by day. If you have any concerns about day by day stuff, like walking capacity, that sort of thing, we want to hear about that for sure. Um, Anything else, Ray, you want to say as part of introduction and welcome?
No, I'm just really glad to meet all of you. I'm so glad that you're interested in Hiroshima and the peace culture there. It is really just such a meaningful, amazing place. For those of you that don't know, like my family is from there, and it's the reason why I got into this field of peace building and Rotary. And now I feel like I spent a lot of time in like the Middle East, and I spent a lot of time with Rotary, and now I feel like it's like full circle again because I'm doing programs in Hiroshima. So. And I spend most of my time in Boston, and we my organization does three or four, well, sometimes five programs per year. And my wife would kill me if I attended all of them. So I have a very good staff that does the programming there. And I go to ones that I think are really special. So this is one I'm going to be in person in October. And it's gonna be great to actually meet all of you guys in person. And I just feel like the theme of this program is very interesting as well because it's partly I feel like there's a Rotary connection because many of us are Rotarians, and there's also this wonderful angle that Maria is an expert on, which is grieving, and I just think it's such an interesting lens to look at Hiroshima. And for me, like I love the programs where I learn something. We've done many programs there, and I feel like this is a program that really has a great potential to really learn from each other and learn from this unique perspective that we're experiencing with.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you can see why I'm so excited that Ray's doing this. I think you all heard me say that when Ray and I were talking about what could we do together and this came up, and Ray said, "Are you willing to have a co-facilitator for this?" And I'm like, "I kind of have to. I'm not an expert on Hiroshima at all. But who do you have in mind?" And he said, "Me." I was over the moon. I was over the moon. So we are very fortunate to have Ray be our co-facilitator for this puppy. Um, I want to bring you all up to speed because we had a interested list that would have put it had everybody come on board that said they were interested. We would have had a waiting list because we are capped at 14. Um, because of the way of the world right now, literally one by one, they all dropped away born of different fears. So one of the things that Ray and I want to check is just to see where all of you are with, because when you signed up, we want to make sure that you know you're going to someplace safe and that there's no need to worry. But if you have concerns, we certainly want to hear them. We want to talk them out. We want to make that the culture of this group. That if there are concerns, we always voice them and we speak them. So if there are any concerns, let's just kind of open the door to that.
My only concern is that I have problems with my knee and my back sometimes, and I do wear a back brace and I can use a cane, and that helps me. Um, Other than that, I mean, I just need to kind of rest, stop and rest, and I don't want to hold up the group. I'm usually at the back of a group, but aside from that, I mean, I had no qualms about safety at all. I mean, I don't know where people got that from particularly, but whatever. Um, I guess it's as safe there as anywhere else in the world, or
Probably
unsafe as it
safer
were.
than
Pardon?
probably is a safe best is my guess.
Yeah,
Like on just
yeah.
my own
So,
experiences.
I mean, I'm a little surprised to hear people were concerned about safety, but other than that, I mean, I'm really looking forward to learning about the culture and all the things that we're going to be doing and sharing time with Maria and meeting Ray and other people. And yeah, very excited about that.
Well, just so you know, Judy, like we've had many participants in the past that either had like walking canes or one person was in a wheelchair. And one of the amazing things about Hiroshima is that if you remember that after the city was destroyed, there were many people with disabilities.
Sure.
So the city is
Oh,
designed for people with disabilities. So
wow.
it's amazing, and just for my own staff, like we'll be aware of everyone's needs before the program starts. We'll send out a questionnaire and everything, and if we have, and sometimes we hire buses or whatever, just to make sure that people are comfortable during the
Right.
program. So,
I mean, I
um,
am probably going to be one of the oldest people on the tour. I'm going to be 84 in July.
wow,
I know.
fantastic. Huh.
I know. So, I mean, lately I've gotten used to being the oldest person in the room or in the group, and it's fine. I mean, people are very kind, I will tell you, very kind and respectful. And I'm sure that being in Japan, they will be even more so being respect elders.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that at the moment.
Perfect. Joe has her hand up. Go for it, Joe.
Judy, I'm going to be right with you. My caveat right now is I won't be making a decision until, we have to make the final decision, but I'm having real issues with my back, legs, and walking as well, and share your concerns. So, if we can sort of get an idea of how much mobility I'm trying to get with medication and seeing doctors and all the usual, you know what. I'm trying to get myself to a position with that I will be more mobile than I have been the last 3 or 4. Like this is an issue that's come up in the last 6 weeks, and I do not
Okay.
know what is going on. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
And Joe, Joe and I, for those of you who don't know, will be attending the 50/20 district, Rotary District Conference this weekend. We're rooming together, which is fun. And so we'll also be able to kind of test a few things and see how things are going and get a better understanding of what you might need. But Ray, it's really lovely to hear that
Yeah,
reassurance that the city is built for
that's
it, and,
that's
and
very
that
interesting.
yeah, I think that really supports and
Mhm.
reinforces.
I will
And
tell you that
it's
every time I have to go upstairs or I have to do a thing with my knees and stuff like that, I think, should I be going on this trip? Should I not be going on this trip? Should I, but I want to. So I think that's half the battle.
Yeah, I think the society is built for it. You have to remember that Japan is a pretty aging population, so that's
Correct.
another factor. So Hiroshima is a city that's very conscious of things like that, and that's also a factor. And also, my staff are very good at being aware of mobility challenges, and they always adapt. So, we
Okay.
won't be asking you to go up the 512 stairs of the temple or anything like that. So,
Got it. Yeah.
Right.
I will tell you that I do get wheelchairs at the airport,
okay,
and that is something that just makes a lot of sense to me.
yeah.
it does.
So that might be
Life
something you want to
easier,
consider
doesn't
as well.
it? It makes life much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to have to make that a commitment this time to get the assistance because
It,
my
they're
last
very,
experience walking from one end of the Calgary airport to the other was not pretty.
yeah.
Oh, that was a big airport, if I recall correctly.
Well, it's probably one of the reasons I'm not considering flying WestJet.
The
Yeah.
other the other advantage to having a wheelchair, Joe, is that they get you through security lickety split, and it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
really nice.
yeah. They
And
get
yeah.
that's a major bonus. That's worth every penny I pay them, even though they don't want to take money. You know,
they get you through security and they get you through customs very quickly too.
absolutely.
Well, I'll make a note and put that on my this is essential list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very helpful. My aunt, Ray, my aunt just returned to Boston last night, my aunt and uncle.
Oh, okay.
And they first traveled asking wheelchair assistance. They had resisted it for a really long time. They had less than an hour and a half turnover in Toronto, which normally they don't allow for. But because they were wheelchair, they got through and they were on the plane before anybody else.
exactly right.
That's my definition of perfect.
Yes,
That's right.
exactly.
But
So
there
just
are advantages to being older.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're not beating me by much, Judy. I had exactly the same concern, but I'm 76.
Okay.
So it's,
So Ray, maybe
I
take
get
information
it.
back to your group.
Okay.
So for myself, ironically, as someone who's had a lot of anxieties and fears about travel, and I've only been to two other countries outside of North America, that my main anxiety and fear is the trip not happening. As Maria knows, that it's taken me a lot to work myself up to committing to this trip, and it's like, don't tell me it's not going to happen now. So like, it's like it took a lot. So it's like it dang well better be happening because I made quite an effort to overcome that fear. That said, there is the thing about, like, I'm sure a lot of us with the way things, a lot of uncertainty in the world, and including, particularly as it pertains to this with the gas prices and how that's going to affect flights and so forth. So I'm hoping that I'll have enough air miles. I probably won't have enough, but either way, I'm just figuring on making it work. And I have some nervousness about taking that time off that I won't be getting paid. And it's a prime time for me in my counseling practice. But, a lot of my anxieties and fears are really outside of the trip.
You can buy miles too, and sometimes they have them on sale. I
Well,
bought
yeah, that's,
I bought 10,000 and I got 8,000.
oh,
So
okay.
check that out. Check out your airline and find out if you can do it. It came to like 300 and something dollars
Okay,
for
good to know, Judy.
18,000 miles, which happened. She said they put them on sale every so often. Just check back with them.
Okay, and FYI, my son was in Japan for 35 days last June. And he can vouch for how safe it is. And like he traveled by himself throughout the whole country for
Okay.
35 days. So I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time. He was in 19 other countries besides Japan last year, and he
Wow.
was safe in all of them, in ones that I told him that I was concerned about him. But so it's a shame that that seems to be an obstacle for folks. I
Well,
think
and
we're less safe here where we're at home.
isn't that the truth? The other thing that people were concerned about was the gas return because there were all of those flights that were being canceled. They were Lufthansa flights. And so I was getting emails about, did you have any concern in Italy? Were you afraid you weren't going to get home and such? Were you afraid the WestJet couldn't refuel? So there's a lot of propaganda going on platforms that I don't frequent, so I don't know that it's happening. So, I was surprised as well, but I have to acknowledge that, all right, then this is what's going on. I also completely trust that the right and perfect people are going to come together. I do that whenever I'm doing a group, that the right and perfect people are coming together and are going to make this happen. Misa, do you have any concerns before we move on to, because Ida and I will be speaking next about the concern that it might not happen.
Um, I don't pay attention to the world stage. I just can't. It would be too dysregulating. So if I should be anxious, I don't know about it. Um,
Ignorance
Yay.
is bliss. Ignorance is bliss, Misa.
That's right.
I mean, it's just I don't like putting my hand. I see it as a form of protection for myself right now so that I can do what I need to do. If I tried to incorporate vast knowledge of the world situation into my life right now, I wouldn't be able to do what I need to do. So that's a down the road step that I'm working towards. So yeah, I don't have any anxieties on that front. I think my anxieties are more about it's been a while since I've traveled, and um, I am someone who relies on a lot of routine. And so to be outside of my routine and outside of my normal environment where, oh, it says my internet connection is stable. Am I
You're good. No,
freezing or
you're good.
anything?
We're hearing you.
Okay.
I see you too.
Okay. Yeah, just being outside of my routine and feeling like I might have a lot of um, extra things I need to bring with me to help, like
Um,
the help I'm dealing with are not mobility related per se. There are some issues there, but that's not the biggest concern. It's just more that it takes me to get ready for the day and to wrap up day. Those kind of things. It just takes me a long time. So, I mean, one question I do have is roommates. How are those being worked out? And if I take a lot of time in the bathroom, how would we work out the coordination on that? So that's more my anxiety is the sort of spillover of those kinds of things into the time that we want to be spending being present at our location.
Ray, do you want to speak to the room assignment
Yeah, I
thing?
mean, as far as I know, like we had budgeted for single rooms for everyone on
Oh, okay.
unless they're yeah. So you don't have to. You can spend as much time in the bathroom as you want, unless you have to be there. Unless you have to be at the morning time when we leave, because the Japanese are fanatical about being on time. So that is the only criteria. But you don't have to worry about your roommate because there will be none.
Okay.
oh, nice.
Isn't that nice? Isn't
That
that
is
That
awesome.
that does relieve some of the anxiety. Yes, thank you.
I'm
I
glad.
thought you would appreciate that. Exactly right. So we currently have 6 people registered. Ray, are you okay if I go into this part of the
Yes,
conversation?
please.
Yeah, okay. So we currently have 6 people registered. We need a minimum of 9 to go, and we're capped at 14. We have a situation where we're going to talk about the extension trip. The extension trip for us, the way I had talked about it, that kind of fell apart. So we're going to look to do something different just amongst ourselves, and that's fine. But the people who were coordinating the extension trip, they had a trip that was going just before us. And they have 3 people registered, and they're discovering the same problem we're having with people who said they were interested now not stepping up. It's the identical problem, which is it's actually when I heard that when I thought, okay, we need to take this seriously and we need to recognize there's something going on in the world right now. And even if we don't understand it, we can't convince somebody otherwise. But now Ray is working towards, and it sounds pretty good, for those 3 people joining our time, our tour, and then going on to the remainder of their tour. Ray, do you want to talk about that at all in terms of those 3 people?
Yeah, sure. On just that the background is on. We've been doing programs for Rotarians for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. And I'm a Rotarian. That's how I got to meet Maria. If any of you have been to the convention over the last 3 or 4 years, I do something called the Peace Park in the House of Friendship every year. So I'm pretty embedded in Rotary. My mentor in Rotary, like the person that got me into Rotary, is also from Hiroshima originally. He's Japanese American like me, and he was doing programs in Hiroshima. And the arrangement would be that he would find all the participants, and then he would have my group administer 3 or 4 days of that program, and then they'll go on to his program in on the island of I can't pronounce that name, but it's a long name. It's a beautiful island. He's 87 now. And he recently decided to retire from all this. On and he actually had a fall and he was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just pushing myself too much. So I'm going to stop doing this. And there's a Rotary program coming in next week actually. And that'll be the last one he does, and then he's going to turn over the rest of the programs to me and my group. So it's like a transition point for us. So I think the way it's going to work is that those 3 participants will join our main group. They seem to be flexible on the dates, and they're also happy to spend more time in Hiroshima City. Before it was about half and half, so they'll spend the full program with us, and then afterwards, those 3 will go off to the island to be with Steve, and that'll be like Steve's last program. So and with Steve, like he doesn't want any more than 5 people. So the 3 that are coming with us and then going off to the island afterwards, I think is a perfect arrangement. And I'm going to be, I've been trying to arrange like an official merging of the two groups, and I think I'm pretty close. And I'm like 85% sure it's going to happen now. So once again, all three of them are Rotarians. So if they join, they'll be the critical mass we need to have this program. I'd like to have a few more because there's usually some sort of attrition, someone has an emergency or something like that. So, and if you know of others that want to join, please ask them to come, and I'll make sure we'll be fine for the program.
Yeah. So with these other three, we still have room for five because we capped at 14. Judy, I saw your hand go up.
If, as he said, something happens to one of the 9 and we are only 8, then it's a no-go. I'm understanding.
No, we will still
Yeah.
do it. It's just that none of my staff will be very happy with their salaries. This will
Sorry,
happen.
people. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and so all of this, remember we gave you the range of cost.
Yeah.
And the fewer people, the higher the cost per individual. That makes sense, right? So it is to all of our advantages to get more people to join us for this group for sure. There are 2 spots because, with these 3 people, then there are 2 more spots to fill up going to the island. But what I said about that when he capped it at 5, I said, well, that doesn't work for what we were wanting to do, because what we were wanting to do was anybody who was interested to stay longer together as a group to digest and to integrate and to relax, to not make it a busy thing where we're doing something all the time. This doesn't meet that requirement, and it doesn't make it available for everybody who would want to continue. So Ray has said that he will help us in figuring out what that after time looks like. Ray, I was looking at the island of Miyajima because I know we're going to be there, right? But we're going to be
Yeah.
there for a short period of time.
Yeah, you'll only be there for I think 4 or 5 hours, and there is a whole. The 4 or 5 hours is plenty of time to go shopping on that long street, and it's a very touristic area, and to look at the temples and things like that. But it's actually an island full of different temples. So if you have more time, you can see more of the temples. There's a beautiful tram that goes up the mountain there, and a whole bunch of other things. So you can definitely spend another day there at the minimum.
Well, what I
Tell me
was,
the,
if
tell me
we,
the name of that island again.
Miyajima.
it's on that one pager that I sent you. It's part of the points,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's
Okay. I will
the
have to look at
1,
that.
2, 3, 4, 5, sixth point. It's the sixth
Okay.
point on the list that I sent
You
you.
haven't printed that out yet, so I have to do
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay. And I can resend that to everybody if you need me to send
Okay.
it. Yeah. But so what I was thinking is, we're going to get an introduction to the place, but maybe that's a place that when we're done with Hiroshima, that might be a place that we want to go to if we can find a nice quiet hotel where everybody can kind of do their own thing. They can go up the tram or not or whatever, but we can also gather together or go 2 or 3 at a time to something.
I feel like I might have asked my staff about that, and it might have been very expensive at that
Oh,
time or
is that
something.
the one that, yeah, you came back to me with one option that was just really too expensive.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 very fancy hotels there, and they're both really expensive. So I was asking them to look for other places, and then Steve's option came up. So I'm gonna ask them to start looking again. One interesting um choice might be the Hiroshima Airport Hotel. The airport hotel is about an hour away. The airport is an hour away from Hiroshima City, but it's like nestled in like these very nice mountains, and the hotel itself is very beautiful. And there's a bus that goes to all the different tourist attractions from there. So that might be the flexibility you may want. Uh, I know that Steve's group always stays there, and they always have rave reviews. They all meet there, and they all fly out the day afterwards, and they always love that hotel. So I can look more into that at the very least. And if you're amenable to it, you might want to go to a different city. Like
Well, that's what I'm thinking is that we probably do want to go to a different city and see something different for a couple of days. The question is, what would be a nice, quiet, peaceful city to go to?
Yeah, because you can't really go to Kyoto or
Yeah.
Osaka because they're like lively kind of touristy cities, and that's probably not the piece you're looking for. But once again, I'll ask my staff, and one thing they mentioned was that Fukuoka is a lesser known city, and it's much more quieter. It's not a tourist trap, but it's like a hidden gem.
Mhm.
It's a
Mhm.
place that people don't think of going if they're in Japan for a couple weeks. So that might be something
Yeah.
better for you guys.
I think what we'd love is a hidden gem that maybe has a tea service we could attend or, something
Massage,
cultural. Sorry, say
a
that again,
spa,
Judy.
a spa.
A spa.
Okay.
Just
Uh,
has something cultural that we could
Yeah,
Yeah,
participate.
traditional,
Yeah,
yeah,
traditional, exactly.
meditative
Yeah,
yeah.
nature.
It's too
yeah.
bad that the whole thing with Steve didn't quite work out because, but it's like we'll try to find a substitute. I feel like spas, like Japan is the place to go. Like they
I
have this
would.
amazing, it's called onsen culture where it's like a bathhouse and there's massages and all this
Mhm.
other stuff there. It's amazing. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So we will continue to look for what that might be for us. My current flight out, and I say current because if you joined after I said this, um, Air Canada just sent me a note saying that there was a flight change and I don't know what it is because I haven't opened it up yet. So, but as far as I know right now, I leave on Friday, the 23rd. So what we're looking for is that time period between the 19th and kind of the 22nd. So by the time 22nd comes, we're back in Tokyo, ready to fly out.
I have my flights for that.
Your flight out is when?
The 23rd at 8:15 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying I think we want to we really want to make sure that evening of the 22nd we're back in the airport area in Tokyo.
Right, right.
So this is kind of what we're looking at right now. Um and that's where everything sits right now. The more people we can still interest and engage, like I said, the lower the individual price will be. Misa, I know you were talking about you had, I forget if it was a relative or if it was a friend who was talking about being interested. Yeah, go ahead.
It's two sisters. One of them lives with their mom at the retirement home where my parents live, and the other lives in Bellingham. And the one who lives at the retirement home with their mom is a Rotarian. Um, and they're both Japanese American. They've been really involved in a lot of Japanese American events. I keep running into them there. Um, and they've gone on some of the pilgrimages to the internment camps. So I just for a lot, and they're wonderful, wonderful people, very community oriented, really happy to get people involved. They've had showings of several films about the Japanese American experience at the retirement home that they have coordinated a discussion afterwards. They're really wonderful people. I think they would be an extremely good fit. The sister who takes care of their mom takes care of their mom. So, and their mom is turning, I believe, 99 this July.
wow.
So, yeah. So, as long as she is caring for her mom, she's unlikely to be able to go. And the other sister is actually going to be in Japan in September
So,
and needs to get back to the States for something that she's doing.
so
So
they're
it
not.
seems like the timing might not work out for her.
Okay.
But if there were any way to involve them, I think it would be lovely.
I would love to go to Hiroshima with fellow Japanese Americans. Like it'd be so interesting.
Yeah.
And there's hardly any on the East Coast that are like me. A lot of people come. I live in Cambridge, so a lot of them come to the colleges here and they stay for a few years and they leave. But it's such a different scene in California and Hawaii where everyone's similar to me. They have like an English first name and like a Japanese last name, and they've been there for generations. And older Japanese people speak excellent English, which is very unusual here on the East Coast.
Well, you got me thinking, Ray, and you as well, Misa. I don't know why I didn't think about it before. And my father-in-law is a historian for the Bainbridge Island, where there were a lot of Japanese Americans. They have a
Right.
historic monument there, and
They do.
so my father-in-law has quite a connection with community of sharing with them about this trip. And so I'm just thinking of some other connections as well around that. So I'm glad it got me thinking where I could see myself thinking outside the box I was in just around the grief work to this other aspect that we can elicit more participation.
And I would welcome like the different perspectives. I think one of the things that makes our programs real, like the engine behind most of our programs, isn't just like the things you see and the people you meet and everything. Like really, I think the heart of it is in the discussion sessions that we have, and like the more perspectives that we have, I think the more richer the program is. Like, one of the groups I bring is I have our Middle Easterners from 9 different countries, including some of the countries that are in conflict. And those programs are fascinating because of all the different perspectives, not just between, Jews and Muslims but just like between like a range of religiosity in Muslims or Christians or whatever. And it's just so more
Life experiences.
yeah. So the more diverse life experiences people bring to the table, the more interesting it is. And actually, honestly, the more fun it is for the facilitators to
Oh, that's right.
facilitate.
Uh, on
Something
that
new.
note, my family is Israeli, Ray.
Oh, interesting. What part of Israel?
My father's family historically lives in the north of Israel, and my father currently lives living in a town that is right below the Lebanese border.
Oh my
Oh
God, I
boy.
used to spend a lot of time on the Lebanese border. I'd go to a
Do
place
you
called
know
Kibbutz.
Naharia?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, so it's in
That's
the.
where he lives.
Oh, okay. So my very good friend, is just north of there at uh Adamit on. It's called what was it called? Kibbutz Adamit. It's like
Oh,
really right next to the level. You can see like the Hezbollah radio towers, like
oh
right
wow.
next door, and all that army guys going through and everything. So it was like a really small community. When I see it here, I'll tell you about all my adventures in the Middle East because I spent a lot of time in Israel. Like on for about 15 years, I'd spend 4 to 5 months somewhere in the Middle East, either
Wow.
Israel or Jordan or Morocco or all over. So on. Uh, yeah, it'd also be right. Sorry, this has nothing to do with Hiroshima, but during those years, I'd go to 9 different countries consecutively, for 4 or 5 days, and like Israel was always interesting to me because it was so different from the other countries, and it wasn't just because it was a democracy or it's Jewish or whatever. The thing that was really different was that it was so diverse. I got so used to looking at people that kind of looked the same, whether it's Morocco or Egypt, but then when you get to Israel, like there are blonde people, there are Ethiopian Jews, there's
Yeah.
people of every shade, and and,
Yeah,
and
my
it's just
father's family's from India, Indian Iraqi.
wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, you said it doesn't have to do with Hiroshima, but it does have to do with peace, hopefully. And that's a big reason why I'm going is because I'm wanting to see what I can do to bring that peace to that region that my family is surrounded by.
That is really like I don't know if you know the origins of the Oleander Initiative, but from 1997 to 2016, we were called the University of the Middle East Project. And our main mission was to promote peace in the Middle East on using education. And during that time, we had a lot of American State Department grants to do all our work. And we had like a precipitous cut in our funding in 2012 or something like that. And then I was about to shut down operations because I had to fire all my staff and like because we went from like millions of dollars a year to like zero. And then I met this
Okay.
amazing person in New York City, and he was a Holocaust survivor. His name is Bernard Otterman, and he had an interest in the Middle East. And I can't remember how the connection was made, but just through brainstorming, like, oh, what about having a program to promote peace in the Middle East in Hiroshima, Japan? It'll be just like Oslo, and Hiroshima has this interesting peace culture. And we started, and that's how it first started. Our first program in Hiroshima was 2016 for Middle Easterners
Oh, I
on
love that origin.
so on and that's where it grew from and for a long time we only did well for a few years we only did Middle Eastern programs, but eventually we kept on expanding our geographic range. So we do programs for people from Northern Ireland now. We do programs for Rotarians, programs for
Wow.
specialized groups like Pax Christi, and part of the idea is that the average age of the survivors now is 86, I think, or 85. So there's so few survivors left, and even fewer that want to speak about their experiences. So like this precious gift to the world is going to be gone in probably 5 years, is my guess, is that a lot of them will not have the capacity to do what they do now. So we really felt the
I mean,
obligation not to expand out from the Middle East, uh, to bring as many people to Hiroshima as we can so they can experience what it's like to meet a Hibakusha survivor in person and listen to their words and gain their wisdom, because they have their stories, but you can just listen to their stories on the internet
exactly.
or on video, but to talk to them,
Well, that,
afterwards and really interact with them, I think is where a lot of the value comes from. So that's why we decided to just spread it all around the world, and you guys are part of that decision we made a few years ago.
Ray, I think that the people are over 90. I was born in 42 and I'm 84. So if those people were born before 42, they're even older than that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think
Survivors,
87
you know?
is the average survivor age now.
Yeah,
But it might just be because so many of them passed away from a lot of them
exactly.
had early deaths or whatever. So
Sure.
I'm not sure how they calculated that, but I know it is pretty up there, and it's like
Well, that was like Steven Spielberg's project was to get these people's
that's right.
stories before they've
That's right.
gone. You
Yeah,
know, the Shoah project that he
yeah,
has.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So there's similar things going on in Hiroshima now, where there's like storytelling, where
Love it.
the relatives of the Hibakusha are, they might be teenagers now, but they're really learning
Right.
that story and telling it the way their grandmother or grandfather told that story. And of course, there's lots of videotaping and archiving and things like that. But there's
Which is
no
wonderful.
substitute to being next to the person that
Right.
experienced it. And it's almost gone. Like thank goodness that Japanese people seem to live for a long time. So,
Yeah.
but
True.
No, but that's another selling point to encourage people to not wait, not think, oh, I'll go in a few years, but
Right. No,
won't.
yeah, they
Exactly,
won't have the same experience. I mean, even now, people
exactly.
don't have the same experience as they did when we first started because the stories are changing.
sure.
When we first started our program in 2016, some of the stories were like, "Oh, I lost my husband or I lost my wife,"
No,
but now
grandparent.
no one was living. No one is living that had a wife or a husband now. So there are a lot of the stories are like, oh, I was like 5 years old and I remember this flash, and then soon there'll be nothing. So that's why I think there's such an urgency to go to Hiroshima now.
Ray, do you maybe want to take a couple minutes, and I know you have the PowerPoint kind of at the ready to go. Maybe show us what we're gonna see there and
Sure. It's part of I'm cutting this out from like a longer orientation I do with my group. So and I chose this one from Rotary, but I'll just give you like a quick overview of some of the things you'll experience. And it doesn't include all the things that you will experience because the Rotary programs are very short. They're only 3 days. I can share this now. Give me a second.
Thank you.
do I need to, are you able to screen share? Hang on,
No, not yet.
let's see what's going on.
Well, I'm excited about this. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I got my flights all in order. Just
Me
work.
too.
I
Ray,
think,
Ray,
are
do you?
you able to share now?
1 minute. Oh, sorry, Joe, did you have a question before I start?
No, I was just because you were trying to do the things. Okay, I was just wondering if you had thoughts if somebody wished to stay longer and see more of Japan, if you have a suggestion of a company or something you know, my travel agent could get in touch with because I'm thinking if I'm going to go all that way, maybe I'd like to see a little bit more of Japan.
Yeah, I mean, one great thing about Japan is that it is so user friendly. Like you don't have to speak Japanese at all, and you can get around. People are extremely helpful. They'll never try to trick you or rob you or anything like that. So it's very safe like that. Uh, a lot of people from this groups I've seen just buy something called the Japan Rail Pass
Yeah,
that gives you unlimited on access to Japan's bullet train system. So you can go to like any city, within I think a 10 or 10 day or 2 week span. And people just use that and they just go to the next city. They might arrange their hotel in advance and just go to that city. It's very easy, right? And there's a train leaving every hour to the place you want to go. And it's once again, it's very easy. So it's like you can do a lot of it yourself. On
Okay.
So
I
is the
don't
bullet train the best way to go between Tokyo and Hiroshima?
well we a lot of times with my groups we just fly on because it is cheaper
Time,
than the train.
time
On
efficient. Yes.
But if you go to multiple points, then
Oh,
it is definitely worth buying the Japan bullet train pass. It's called the Japan Rail Travel Pass. And the thing with that pass is that you can only buy it outside of Japan.
Ah,
Ah,
no.
Like
interesting.
it's forbidden for people from Japan to do this.
So
So
it's encouraged for tourists to really see the sights and take advantage of
yeah,
the rail
exactly.
system. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's,
Speaking of flights, I'm wondering, even though things are still up in the air, if you will, about the trip, would you recommend getting the flight secured sooner than later?
Oh,
I mean, I'm not
yeah.
an expert in all this, but I mean, from what I read in the news, like there's supposed to be multiple price hikes in the future for, and I can't see the situation in the Strait of Hormuz getting much better, like anytime soon. So
It's
But I
not
guess
encouraging.
my concern was if the trip didn't happen, then would how would it affect me getting a refund or
I
whatnot?
think the best approach is to buy insurance on the flight.
or buy changeable or refundable tickets. But hopefully I can get those three Rotarians to join us, and they'll give us all of us a lot more certainty.
Yeah.
And if you guys can help out by finding just like one or two other people, I think they'll if we go if we know that at least like 11 or 12 people want to go, and they put in their deposit, I think that's it's like
Pretty safe.
99% sure, unless there's COVID again or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that is going to
Yeah,
happen.
don't wish for that.
Yeah, no,
No,
we're
I don't. Which happened to us 5 years ago. Like
Mm.
what
yeah, so advice to put insurance on the flight that you get. Advice that you do get a flight. And the other thing I was going to say is we can start doing hotel reservations for the pre in Japan time and such. We can start, and I don't know, Judy, you've been wanting to mobilize this. You've been like, let's go, let's do this. So we are going to kind of settle into that stuff and also purchase the flight from Tokyo to Hiroshima so that we've got all of that locked in.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. You don't have to definitely do this, but if you're going to get the rail pass, make sure it starts after you leave Hiroshima, because you
Yeah,
don't want to burn up, 7 days of that rail pass while you're in Hiroshima, not going anywhere. So it's usually not worth it to use the rail pass to get to Hiroshima.
right.
Because if
That's
it's
a
a
good
10-day
point.
pass, you're going to burn up like 6 or 7 days just
And
getting there.
how many days is it good for typically, or does what you, depends
It's a
what you buy?
10-day pass, you said.
I think
10.
there was I
Pardon?
think it was a week, 10 days, and 2 weeks,
Oh,
I
okay.
think, but I don't know the exact number of
Okay.
days.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of a cost of it at all? I mean, at ballpark? Just
Uh,
curious.
oh, the last time I used it was it was like 6 years ago, like right after the 2021 or 22 or something, and it
That was a
was like
pandemic still.
$600, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, or something
Okay.
like that.
So it's probably doubled by now.
Oh, actually, I mean, Japan
I
has
can
had.
look it up while you talk. I'm just did you should have no problem sharing your screen now, right?
Oh, okay, great. So let
Double
me.
check that on me.
Yep.
here we are.
So
Started sharing.
I will. I'll go on. Usually, this is part of a much longer orientation where I talk about the peace culture that developed in Hiroshima. But for now, Marie, would you want me just to go over like some of the specific program events? Because if we do have the
Absolutely.
orientation, I'll be doing all this stuff
Yeah.
before, anyways.
Right, absolutely. I just thought it might be fun for everybody to hear your voice with some of the things. I did just look up the Japan Rail Pass. This is in Canadian dollars, so US folks, you are lucky on this one. It'll be much less US dollars. 7-day pass is 445.95 Canadian. 14 days is 713.52 Canadian. So your guess about $600 must have been for 14 days
Okay.
Mm,
for US pass, I'm guessing. And 21 days is 891.90 Canadian.
okay.
Okay.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you for
so
doing that, Maria.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I mean, I'm just going to give you like a little taste of what's actually going to happen day by day at the program. On like I said before, I really feel like the core of our program is ourselves. Like the amazing thing about Hiroshima is that like we purposely curate this program in order to have like checkpoints with our discussion sessions. And I feel like the discussion sessions are really the heart of our program. And we really want there to be like a lot of camaraderie between all the participants. So there's a program orientation, we'll do like a group member introduction, and that's the platform for a lot of trust. Like we want people to be as open and to feel that they can say whatever they want within limits. Um, and it is our job as facilitators to try to figure out the best way to channel all this energy towards, self-realization, or in the case of this Rotary program, how to use this peace culture in Rotary. And I think there'll be some of that in this group as well, because there's so many Rotarians. Really, the heart, a big part of our program is what I just talked about, our Hibakusha testimonials. On This woman is amazing. Her name is Sadae Kasaoka-san. And she is now 95.
Wow.
On But
Good for
she has
her.
so much energy. She jumps around when she tells her story. She is such a wonderful person, but it was such a tragedy that happened to her, what happened to her, and she will talk about her story. But I think uh, a real strength of our program is that, after her story, it's not like she just turns around and leaves the room and that's it. Like she'll come and eat lunch with us, and we'll have a chance to really connect with her on her personal level. And it's I think that's a wonderful part of the program where she learns as much from us as we do from her, and I feel like that symmetrical exchange of information between us as a group of people coming from the outside of Japan and the community in Hiroshima is very, very important, that there is a symmetrical flow that happens between culture and information. So most of our activities are designed just to do that. We have a nice academic lens that happens in the program too. This is Professor Ron Klein. He taught at Hiroshima Jogakuen University for a long time. Talk about his introductory lectures on the facets of Hiroshima and how people can view Hiroshima in different ways. Do you view it as a warning against nuclear weapons? Do you view it as a celebration of peace? Like one thing he brings up is like when you go to the Genbaku Dome, the dome that is famous for Hiroshima, like how do you pose? What does that mean for you? Some people put up two fingers for peace. Other people, make goofy smiles. Others look very serious. And that's part of his point. It's like, what facet of Hiroshima are you looking at? Are you looking at it as a tourist city, as a as a memorial, as a tragedy? So it's a very great way to start our program. We also have Professor Yuko Takahashi, and she oftentimes does her concluding on wrap-up session, and she kind of takes a lot of the elements that we've investigated throughout the program, and she'll kind of tie it all together. On She teaches at Hiroshima City University, and her specialty, she won't be talking about it with us, but her specialty are Korean hibakusha. One interesting thing about Hiroshima was that out of the 140,000 people that were killed there, 20,000 of them were Koreans that were basically brought to Japan as almost like indentured servants, because Japan had colonized Korea.
Wow.
So her research is around what happened to those Koreans after the bomb. Some of them stayed in Hiroshima, some of them went to South Korea, some of them went to North Korea, and the different experiences that they all had depending on where they went.
Wow.
There's These are some of our staple things. There's a tour of Peace Park, and we do this ourselves. My staff recently made their own tour of the Peace Park because they're sick of the superficiality of most of the guides that we hired in the past. So they decided to do it themselves, and it's very well researched. Is much more compatible with our peace themes that we do, and they're very conscious and on changing it towards whatever the theme of the program is. So for this program, I'm sure they'll add like a little bit of a grief angle to fit into our program. Of course, we'll go to the Peace Memorial Museum. It is such a powerful experience. They recently renovated this within the last 5 years, and it's absolutely gorgeous and it's so thought-provoking. We'll spend a lot of time there too. The city has been kind enough to let us use rooms within the museum, so we'll do our debrief session usually right after we visit the museum in the museum, which I think is also a great experience. I don't know if you know this, but the symbol of peace in Hiroshima is the crane. And the reason why it's the crane is because of a girl named Sadako. And Sadako was 3 years old when the bomb dropped. And she felt fine for a long time, for about 10 years. And then when she was 13, when she was 12, she got leukemia as the after effect from the bomb. And as she was sick, lying sick in her sickbed in the hospital, she started folding these paper cranes. And in Japanese mythology, legend, there is a mythology that says that if you fold 1,000 paper cranes, it's very difficult to fold these things. The gods will give you any wish that you want. So her wish was to survive, the leukemia, and she got to like 870 something of these cranes, and she passed away. She didn't make it. But her classmates took over for her, and they folded the last 133 cranes, and their wish was a wish for world peace. So that's how the origami crane became the symbol of Hiroshima. So we'll do like a workshop with the crane. There is a great cultural association there that we partner with, and they may also do a tea ceremony or a calligraphy ceremony as well.
Wow.
And this is one of the most moving parts of the tour. When you go to the museum or when you listen to the Hibakusha, you get like a deep, you're exposed to like deep human suffering. And sometimes I get numb to it because it's too much. But what really strikes me are these trees. It wasn't just humans that were affected by the atomic bomb. All the nature was affected by the atomic bomb too. And there are trees that survive the atomic bomb. And, they form a big circle around Hiroshima. And you can see exactly where the bomb came because their root structures are different depending on which side of the bomb they faced. So for the trees, the radiation side has shorter deformed roots, and the other side have normal roots. And and what really moves me is like how much effort the people of Hiroshima have put in to make sure that these trees survive. I mean, look
Wow.
at the tree on the right. They put up stilts. They've tied the middle together so it won't fall apart. And I just find that to be so touching that both humans and the tree itself are trying to survive, and like that, and they're putting as much maximum effort to make sure that that happens. And it's always something that's very moving to me. I think one of the themes of this program is kind of like resilience and how to move from grief to this wonderful peace culture they have. So this is another it's not really a museum, it's almost like a community space. But the Motomachi district is one of the poorest parts of Hiroshima. It was also one of the most affected by the bomb. And they have like a very small kind of museum there and speakers that talk about the rebuilding of this district of the Motomachi district. And you can see on a whole rebuilding process that happened between when the bomb dropped until now. And it's very interesting. And I think it really encapsulates this idea of resilience that people just, they just had to move forwards, and no matter what happened or whatever they were experiencing. So we always have community dinners on at our program. There's some dinners that it'll just be ourselves, but there'll be at least one or two dinners where we invite members of the community. So sometimes we invite school teachers, sometimes we invite leaders of local uh, NGOs, non-governmental organizations. And what's great about Hiroshima is that there's hardly any NGO culture in Japan. It is like nearly impossible to make your living as a nonprofit person. This is kind of a funny story, but my wife is Japanese Venezuelan and her parents live in Japan. And when she got engaged to me, they asked me what I did for a living, and I said, "Oh, I work, for peace building, and I work for a nonprofit." and they thought I was like a bum. Like they
Oh,
thought that
no.
they thought that and it's also like after we had gotten married, my wife kept working, which is very unusual for Japanese women. So so in Japan, you cannot make a living doing this kind of work. So they thought very lowly of me. They didn't tell me because they're Japanese and they're very passive aggressive, and that's a whole other thing. But what saved me, and this is what ties it all together, is that they found out that I said one day in passing that I have to go to my Rotary Club meeting, and I was going to check out the Rotary Club in Tokyo. And they're like, "Oh, you're a Rotarian?" And my wife's father was a big Rotarian in Venezuela. And that was like the
Yeah.
stamp of approval that he needed to make sure that his son-in-law was okay.
Talk about
So
breaking the ice. That's great.
that's how Rotary saved my marriage. So
Now
uh,
you're a good guy.
so my point for all this is that in Japan there are hardly any professional peace builders that can make a living from this, but in Hiroshima they can do this because there's enough of a culture there, and there's enough of a economic flow coming into on Hiroshima for this type of work. So there are some amazing NGOs there that do just fantastic work with still very limited resources. Like this is my favorite one. It's called Ant Hiroshima, and it's three generation of female peace builders. So Taruka-san is the woman on the left. She was actually a victim of the atomic bomb. She was 13 years old when the bomb dropped, and she's not nearly as active as she was before. But her
Yeah.
daughter, the woman on the right, Tomoko-san, has taken over this organization, and her granddaughter on Kumiko-san, who's in the middle, who's probably like in her 30s, mid 30s, early 40s, will be taking over for her mother. So it's three generations of peace builders. So sometimes we'll invite people like them to our dinners, so you can talk to them and really get like an inside understanding of how this peace culture works in practicality in Japan. We often invite teachers because it's very interesting to hear about the curriculum. We used to be able to do school visits, but they've been very limiting lately on because of the Ministry of Education. So we thought the next best thing was to invite the teachers to come meet us if we can't go visit the school. As I said before, there's a lot of reflection time, at least one every day, and for me, these are really the highlights of the program because it's just such a interesting like deluge of information that mixes and builds on each other and we all come up with new insights, including myself, that I feel is what is really special about this program. I can talk about some of the cultural activities as well. We'll go to, I think we mentioned Miyajima before. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They're famous for the big red gate they see coming out of the ocean on the right. And it's also the place to get all the trinkets you could possibly need from Japan. They have, you know, there's a whole street full of these trinkets, and you can't bargain. That's something
Huh.
that's after spending so much time in the Middle East in the souk, where I'm so used to trying to get the price down, they don't like that at all. So don't do that. But you can
That's
buy as
always
many trinkets as you want there.
yeah.
This Hiroshima Castle. This is a recreation of the castle that was there in I think the 17th century. It was destroyed during the bomb. But it's a very faithful recreation of it. You can get a spectacular view from the top. And it's also a place where there's many, many atomic bomb trees around this area. So we usually do both at the same time. On October, I'm not sure. It might be past the season for Kagura, but Kagura is like the special art form that involves like these huge puppets and music that is a specialty of southern Japan. Hiroshima is a very beautiful modern city, and this is like one of the main streets that go through it. It's a big covered archway on pedestrian
Mhm.
area called Fundori. So that's where a lot of the young people go. You can see them wearing their crazy outfits, and there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and there's a fantastic ramen there, and there's lots of little bars and things like that. If you wanted to come with me to visit these places.
And there's a
Is that a
Starbucks.
Starbucks sign?
Yeah,
It
oh
is
yeah,
a
there's
Starbucks thing.
there's
That is
lots
a
of
Starbucks
Starbucks.
sign, isn't it?
It
It,
is.
There,
Okay.
there's a McDonald's there, so you can check out Japanese McDonald's, which is
Oh,
also
that's
very
fun.
interesting because it has nothing to do. It's nothing. It's very different from American
I'm
McDonald's.
sure.
So That's another interesting thing. There's something called Orizuru Tower. It's a big modern, like a tower in the middle of Hiroshima. We usually go up there during the first day of the program just so people can see like an overview of what it looks like. And we might have a reflection session there too.
Who wouldn't want to do this?
Meals,
Exactly.
like, I'm not sure how adventurous the eaters are here, but we try to
Oh yeah.
go from not so adventurous to more and more adventurous as the program goes on. But we always try to have people at least exposed to the
Okonomiyaki.
Hiroshima specialties. And this is
Yeah.
one of the main ones. It's called okonomiyaki. It's like a savory pancake with meats or fish. On if anyone has
Wow.
religious restrictions or dietary restrictions, we will also take all that into account. But this is one of the major things in Hiroshima is okonomiyaki.
Okonomiyaki. I love that word.
Of course, sushi. The sushi is delicious in Japan, as you'll see. Like, I, I refuse to get sushi in Boston because it is really it's like 8 times as more expensive as the sushi in the gas stations in Japan. And the gas
Wow.
station sushi is like 10 times better than the sushi that they sell here, and that's 8 times as more expensive. So I just
Agree.
can't do sushi anymore. This is an excellent sushi place. It's really delicious. And they also offer non-sushi options in case people do not like raw fish.
I
Um,
want it all.
More Hiroshima. Oh, Hiroshima is very famous for their oysters, and you're coming in October, which is like the perfect time to get these oysters. They're going to be on. They sell them in street stalls, and you can put soy sauce or lemon or cheese or all sorts of stuff on 'em. Just
Please.
incredible. One on the left is the special Hiroshima ramen. It is very heavy. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but it is made out of pork broth, and they put more pork on it, and then more pork again on top of that other pork. So
Wow.
it just for me, I like ramen, but it's a little too much. But maybe someone will. Others have liked it a lot.
That's when sharing comes in, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Like I don't think I can even eat half of that then. Like anyways, we'll go to a
Wow.
very, very nice traditional restaurant for our closing dinner. And it has tatami floors. And I think it's the best of both worlds because sometimes with the tatami floors you have to sit cross-legged all night to eat. But this restaurant has the tatami floors, but you can put your legs down. There's like little pits at each table, so people that have knee problems or whatever, it's easy for them to sit and eat. The food is just ridiculously good and lots of variety. And in general, that's our philosophy is that we try to choose restaurants that are local favorites that offer variety because we understand that people have different dietary restrictions. So these are other things that are not relevant.
The time we finish on the 19th, do you know what time we're going to be finishing the program on the 19th?
Usually on the last day of the program, we will have kind of like a closing lunch, and then we'll check out of the hotel. We'll all go to wherever people are, usually to the bus station because people are either going to uh, taking a train somewhere else or going back to the airport. And then, there's a nice food court there, and they'll usually choose one of the restaurants there to eat at, and then we'll say goodbye to everyone, and everyone will go to their different destinations. So I'm gonna guess around 2 o'clock on that day, or a little bit later.
Where
And do
was
you
that
make,
at again, Ray?
Excuse me?
Where was that at? Was that bus station, train station? In
Oh yeah, so depending on where people are going, we will probably go there together or and eat lunch together. And if people stay a little bit longer because their train's at 5 or something, it's not like our day's over, so we're just
yeah,
gonna let you
boom,
go. See you later. Good luck in Japan. Like we'll all make sure you're getting to
right.
wherever you're going next.
And if there's a group of us that are going someplace to kind of do the debrief and the integration and stuff, we'll figure that out
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we'll definitely help you with that too. I mean, I think that's a great idea in general for our programs in the future. I think it's useful to have like just exactly what you're proposing, like a quiet place where people can kind of process all this stuff.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Um, and my other question was about temperature at that time of year. in Hiroshima? Do we know what?
Yeah, it's perfect. I've done other October programs before. It is, one of the problems with Hiroshima is that it is scorching hot. And so we used to do programs during August 6th during the anniversary. And
Ooh,
it was like I was just glad to survive, after
Yeah.
after a week of that heat. So October it's still pretty warm. I'd say it's probably in this 80, like low 80s, like mid 70s. But for me, it's perfect. It's the perfect weather.
perfect.
And I don't think it rains that much in October. I don't think it rains until November. So I think we should be pretty good in terms of uh rain and precipitation as well.
Good. Yeah, I just did a check on it and it says expect to bring pleasant, cool, and comfortable autumn weather with daytime highs around 22 Celsius, 72 Fahrenheit, and cooler evenings. Generally
Perfect.
sunny and reduced rainfall compared to September. So we're going at like the perfect time
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for a myriad of reasons. The oysters, the weather,
Sounds perfect.
except for the cherry blossoms.
and
Sounds fabulous.
I
Very
was
fabulous.
sold at the oysters.
You do not want to be in Japan during cherry blossom season. It is like madness.
Yeah, I've heard
So,
that. Yeah.
so,
right.
Well, we have
Yeah,
cherry
it's easier to
blossoms
see
here in
them
Seattle.
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
fabulous.
the reality is there are six of us. Well, with me it's seven, with Ray it's eight. But if the six registered participants each brought one friend, we'd be at 12. And then we have the other three. So we don't need everybody to bring one friend, but if most people brought one friend, we'd be at the 14 like
Trying.
that.
I'm trying. I gotta
I
tell you, I'm trying.
know, I know. But Ray and I just really wanted to emphasize that. I've been talking to a lot of Rotary groups. I've got a wait list for the next time we do the program because this year people have
Plans
booked
already.
other things and such. So, you know, that's part of it too. But we'll figure it out. I will post this video so that you can all share it with anybody. Like if you know of somebody who's really interested, I'm going to give you a link where they can
Good.
take a look at it.
I just
Good.
had a question occur to me, and that is like for myself, it's really important, but I'm wondering if it might be for um, other prospective participants, and that it's something you said earlier, Ray, about like what is the intention of being there? Is it like as a tourist or like, and it's like I myself don't want to just go being like, been there, done that, but like, how can I take the intention and being able to bring it back in my own world of being able to, like I mentioned about my family being in the Middle East, in Israel, and so forth, like, and then just around here, I've been confronting this like confluence between grief and peace. And
Mm.
so, is there going to be an aspect of the program on that? Does that make sense?
Yes. And that's my co-facilitation in the program, right? So the idea for me, and the reason I'm so fascinated to go, and part of what I'm hoping to learn from this trip and from co-facilitating with Ray is there is something that instinctually happened in Hiroshima, and it is a function of how horrific the situation was. But there was something instinctual about how they converted grief to mourning. And so we discovered that as we talk about that, people are like, oh, it's going to be such a sad trip. No, it's not going to be such a sad trip. But it's because in North America in particular, but worldwide in truth, we are grief avoidant and mourning phobic, right? And what is so beautiful about Hiroshima to me is that they have created a compassionate grief community. In other words, because of the way they memorialized what happened, people's grief naturally surfaces. And people who have visited Hiroshima have said to me, oh, it's such a sad place to go to. And my response to that has been, did you allow the sadness that was inside of you to come up and express itself? And they look at me like I'm crazy. And so what's interesting about that, and the last person I had this conversation with, Joe, was your stepdaughter. Like literally a week ago, we had this conversation. And it's because people don't know how to do it. And yet Hiroshima has created this environment that calls it up because buried and carried grief is just waiting for that to surface. And so it's created an environment where it surfaces, and when it's released, there is this profound peace that lives underneath it. So that component of the program that you're talking about, Idan, is going to be very organic. But what it's going to be is as sadness comes up in the group or with individuals, we're going to talk about, so how do we just gently surrender to the flow of that? How do we stop fighting it and allow that to be what converts that energy into peace? Because really, what Hiroshima has done is figured out that grief is a pathway to peace. And it's not just any peace, it's a profound peace. Because when you allow it to surface and express itself, the peace that comes forward is truly profound and lasting. And so that's what we're going to be looking at. Does that answer
Okay.
the question?
It answers it sufficiently for now, and I'm looking forward to like being more what do you call like particular clear of how to put it into action, not just for myself personally, but in the circles I'm in.
Right.
Yeah, so
And
I guess
that's what's going to come up very organically, I think, within the group as we tour. Go ahead, Ray. You were going
well,
to say.
and I guess that's the part that'd be what my organization is trying to do, right? It's like like we want to bring people that are change makers to Hiroshima so they're inspired, right,
Yeah.
to do something. So sometimes with like our Middle Eastern programs, it's more obvious because we bring teachers, right, and they figure out some aspect of the peace culture there that they want to bring back to their classrooms. But for others, it's a different challenge on how to do that. And usually the what we do is that we investigate the same question over and over again, which is like, what is the lesson of Hiroshima? Like what can we learn from this event and from the way the people got through it and they came out the other side. What is the lesson for Hiroshima for you? And then once you figure that out, and that changes the whole time. We'll ask you what the lesson of Hiroshima is like a month before the program. We'll ask you again on the day of the program, and then we'll keep re-examining it like throughout the program. And sometimes it's exactly the same, and other times it changes a lot, and it can go in so many different directions. It's been so interesting. Sometimes it's like, nuclear weapons are evil, and we need to do everything we can to stop them. And that's a very obvious lesson of Hiroshima because you see all the suffering and everything. But other times it's like on, oh, like on, the lesson of Hiroshima is the power of storytelling. And this Rotarian went back to his Rotary Club and he's like, oh, well, what we need to do, and they're fighting human trafficking. So they're like, what we need is our storytellers. And that's the way Hiroshima inspired his work. For it can even be like deeply personal things. Like this Tunisian teacher was like, I need to get my own bank account, because all these people were just, they went about their day and they thought nothing would happen, and then it happened. So I need to be a little bit more independent, and that's why I need to get my own bank. So it's just like little, it can be like little realizations like that, or big realizations, and everything else in between. But that is our job as the Oleander Initiative, is to help you make those understandings based on the lessons of Hiroshima. And then the next step is to try to apply that to your communities. And then that's why we always check up on everyone, a couple months after the program, one, to see what that lesson of Hiroshima is again for them, because sometimes it changes after the program. But more importantly, how do they apply that lesson to Hiroshima to their own communities or their own Rotary clubs? And that's why I'm excited that so many of you guys are Rotarians.
Great, thank you, Ray. I may want to explore with you offline about your Middle Eastern program.
Yeah, sure. I'll love. Yeah, I miss Israel a lot. I'm not going to visit there now, obviously, but like on. Yeah, I love to talk to you about it. It's a very happy part of my life, time in my life.
Judy, you were going to say something?
I just said it's a very different place than it was, 5 years ago even.
Yeah.
I
Right.
visited there in 1999 and 79, and I do not want to go back either. I just don't.
Why?
I don't want to see what's become of it or
Mm,
what's going on over there. Besides
yeah.
which, I have lots of other places to go. I've been there twice.
The last time I was in Israel was 2013, I think. Yeah, 2013 or 2004. So it's been more than 10 years.
Yeah.
My son was there when the missiles were coming over from Iran
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
with my father,
Well,
but still had a powerful, positive experience. So it depends. It's like what Maria I said. I love what you said, Maria, about the sadness. It's not about like, like having an aversion. Like, but if you lean into it, then you can transmute it. And with any experience. So I really appreciate that you've got that perspective, Maria.
And
Well,
yeah,
we're going
thank
to
you,
talk about intention. We're going to talk, Ray said, this is kind of like a preamble to what we're going to do when we do this is what we're now committed to do. This is what we're going to be doing. That's when we're going to start going, and what is your intention for your trip? What is it you want to discover? Because setting intention is a powerful exercise. And when we set an intention, we find what we're looking for, even if what the intention is let my heart be open to this experience. That is a beautiful intention that is non-directive, that allows the universe to do miracle work, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about.
Ray, you were gonna say something else?
oh, no, just like on. Yeah, I'm very glad that you have Israeli roots because I think that's a really interesting part of well, very interesting part perspective to the program. There's also like lots of Holocaust memorials in Hiroshima that you might find interesting. I think it's the only Holocaust museum in East Asia, and it's like right on the outskirts of it's like between Hiroshima and Fukuoka, but it's all part of this whole peace culture. There's a memorial to Anne Frank and others that I think I'd love to know your thoughts on the take of
Yeah.
Anne Frank by the Japanese. It's just an
Uh-huh.
interesting thing. It's like on so
Yeah, and my family's South Asian Jews. Like I said, Indian Iraqi, just but still. Yeah, and thank you, Maria, for just want to express my appreciation for what you're saying about intention. It's like I want to be clear. I'm not coming as a tourist.
yeah,
It's like I am coming for the with the intention, and that's what's drawing me to this trip in this program.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea of this program, is that we're not coming as tourists, we're coming as participants.
yeah, absolutely.
And we're wanting to engage, and then we're wanting to bring what we discover home with us.
Yes, amen. I've got a 2 o'clock client, so I need to wrap it up.
Absolutely. Well, we were scheduled to go for the hour and a half, and we're coming up on the hour and a half. Ray, is there anything else that we haven't covered? We've covered my checklist pretty much.
No, everything seems, I think on, I just can't wait for this program to start. You're gonna love our program managers in Hiroshima too. They're just fabulous people and they're excited about this program too. Like they both have one has a master's degree in peace building and the other has been part of this field her entire life. And that's very unusual in Japan. So they're really, as am I, really interested in the different lens that this program has than the other ones. So we're all excited for it.
Yeah, I'm so happy, and it's nice to meet you, Ray. And I know very well Maria, and just so happy that this trip is going to happen.
Yes. I'm gonna do everything I can to secure those three Rotarians in the next week or so.
And I will
excellent.
keep you all informed on where we are, not just with numbers, but with people. And Jen and Linda, we're sorry you weren't able to join. We trust that you will see this video, and we look forward to meeting you in person. These are two other Rotarians from Montana.
Great.
Are
So,
signed
Excellent.
up for the trip?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll sign up.
perfect.
Oh, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you,
One
everybody.
thing, one thing this is important. Usually we have like these policies where depending on the time of the program, when the cancellation happens, it could be like 50% thing, but like we're gonna waive all that stuff. And the only thing we'll ask is to keep the initial deposit on if you get canceled late, but it won't be like the same percentage that we usually do, just to acknowledge on the world situation right now.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ray, for saying that. And we talked about the balance, that can be a bit later too with what we're trying to work through here.
Yeah, yeah,
So
we won't ask for
worry
anything
about it.
more. You'll never lose more than your deposit if the worst happens, is my point.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Ray. That's really generous.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if anybody is watching this video and you're interested in joining us on the journey, please contact me, Maria, Maria, at Healthy Morning, HEALTHY, morning, MOURNING, all one word, .com. Maria at healthymorning.com. We look forward to having you join us, and I can't wait to be on this journey with each and every one of you. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to
Thank you,
stop
everyone.
the recording here.
Thank you. Thank you very
Take care.
much.
That was
Look
great.
forward to it. I'm really
Bye.
excited. Bye-bye.
We'll see you
Nice
all
to meet
soon.
you all.